Hello, and thank you for stopping by our channel. Josh and Sabrina Take on the World. Sabrina is working this afternoon, so I thought it would be a good time to do a bit of a tech video, which Sabrina is not overly interested anyways, with regards to an issue that I've had, and since you're viewing the video, odds are you also have the same issue and are looking for a way to resolve it. And that issue that I'm talking about is scratches with your Apple Watch. I received an Apple Watch Series 5 Titanium Edition back at the initial launch date last September, I guess it was, maybe October. Can't remember the exact date any longer, but had it since day one when it first came out. And I remember doing the unboxing of it and thinking how pristine the watch was with no scratches on it whatsoever. So much to my dismay, a few weeks later, I ended up with a bit of a nasty scratch right along the edge of the casing where it meets up with the actual screen. Obviously, seeing that, I was a little bit disappointed. I didn't know what to do to try and resolve the issue. So I immediately took to the internet to see if anybody else had the same issue. And unfortunately, I hadn't really found at the time too many people posting about how to get rid of those scratches. Now, previously, I've had a lot of the stainless steel Apple Watch series, and it was always very easy to clean up those watches when they got scratches on them, because I would just polish out the surface of the stainless steel with a Cape Cod cleaning cloth, which works really well if you have a stainless steel Apple Watch, but I would not recommend using this with a titanium Apple Watch. Definitely not a good deal. So I ended up looking around online. I found different titanium watch repair tools that were rather expensive on Amazon. I found some titanium refinishing pads online as well that they wanted $20–30 Canadian for them. And of course I wanted to go about and try and resolve the scratches on the watch case as best as I could. The watch here in Canada that I have retails for almost $1,200 Canadian. The same model in the States retails for almost $900. So obviously it's a little bit of an investment, and if you're an Apple user like myself, we typically have mild OCD when it comes to our Apple devices getting marked up, and we like to see them looking as best as they can, just like they came out of the box. So after looking around on Amazon, I actually ended up one day at a local jeweler, and I asked him about refinishing the watch, what he would do, and he said that he could do some polishing of the case, but I was going to have to leave it with him for a while. It was going to cost, I think, $20 or $30 for him to do it, and he was going to have to remove or repolish the entire case to clean it all up. And I ended up kind of passing on that because he said, you know, the watch didn't have too many marks on it, so he says, why don't you wait until the watch gets really banged up and then bring it back at that time. So one afternoon, I happened to look down at the watch and I saw that it had another big mark in it. So I thought, I've got to finally do something because these marks in the watch are starting to bother me. So I started looking around the house, thinking that maybe I could find a solution here. And I ended up looking underneath the kitchen sink, and I came across some sponges from the dollar store. I think these were purchased for $1.25 at the local Dollarama here in Canada, and I got a 10-pack of sponges. So what did I do? I ended up taking one of the sponges, and you have to be very careful to just rip the green scrubbing coating off of the watch, or sorry, off of the sponge I should say, not off of the watch, so that you're left with this. And this is what I use to clean the Apple Watch case of any scratches, removing any scratches from the case, and it works extremely well. You just have to apply a light amount of pressure using the pad against the surface of the case, being careful not to get it too much in contact with the screen. As you can see, I've got a pad here with me. It's got a bit of mark on it. That's the actual little bit of the titanium blackness on there as you actually rub it off the surface of the watch. Now, Apple says that their titanium watches are coated with a special coating which I believe is supposed to help resist fingerprints. So you might be wondering, if I rub it, will that come off? Most likely I've removed that coating off of the watch, but I've seen no negative impact from having done that. I don't notice that it marks up anymore with fingerprints, and the one thing that I do like is that I've got an Apple Watch that is perfectly clean of any scratches on it. In fact, I actually keep one of these in my laptop briefcase bag, that if I happen to notice that I've gotten a big gouge in the watch, I just pull this out and lightly wipe it, and it literally removes the mark. So I'm gonna flash over here now to what I was just doing moments ago in removing a scratch out of my Apple Watch Series 5 Titanium Edition. I've got pictures and video of the scratch beforehand, and then of the scratch afterwards. So you can see the difference in the removal and the technique that I use to remove it. So as you can see from the prior to scratch removal image that I took here, there's a good number of scratches across the titanium surface at the top of the watch, and that's just my usual wear and tear, that after a little bit of time I end up with those sorts of marks after the watch is clinked against different surfaces, as I'm sure yours has as well. So I tried to kind of do the best that I could here in this video footage to show you the scratches. It's kind of difficult to sometimes capture them, because depending on the way that the light hits the surface of the titanium, sometimes the scratches are very apparent and other times they are not so much. But I think that you can see from the video just what the scratches look like. So now I'm going to proceed and remove the band from the watch. And I'm going to take the pad, abrasive pad, and I'm going to gently apply pressure to the pad while making a linear motion back and forth with the pad and the watch. You don't really need a lot of pressure in doing this, and you certainly want to do your best to keep it away from the screen. I've not noticed any micro scratches or that on my screen as a result of doing this, but again, to keep that away. And you'll notice now that after that first go over, that the scratches that were there are pretty much gone. If you do notice that there's any additional scratches that you can still see after your first go over, you can certainly go over the watch again, as I noticed that there is still a little bit of scratching just in the center there. So I'll apply the pad a second time in this video, maybe apply a little bit more pressure and continue to rub in that linear motion. And you can stop every now and then and check the watch again just to see whether or not you've eliminated any additional scratches that were there. So we're getting down to pretty much getting a clean surface again that is scratch free. But again, it might take a couple of times over and looking at it under light just to make sure that you've been successful in removing the scratch off of the watch. And what I'm just doing here with this back and forth motion is I'm just trying to get a good look at the surface with the light hitting the watch, just to make sure that the scratch is all completely removed. I'm still seeing that there's a little bit of a mark left, so I'm going to go over it one last time here just to ensure that I get it. And each time you can apply a little bit more pressure or rub slightly different there in the affected area, but eventually you will be able to get the surface of the watch clean. As you can see from the final bit of video here, the surface of the watch looks pretty much back to the day that it came out of the box. My Apple Watch actually had a few little marks in the surface of the titanium out of the box, and I've since, using this technique, have been able to remove those. So actually for myself, in some ways, I've got a better polished watch than I did when it was brand new out of the box. So we'll just take a quick look at the before. As you can see, lots of scratches on it. And then we'll come through here to the after, and it looks much more like it would have brand new out of the box. So I hope that that little clip of the watch beforehand, along with the photo, the after polishing, and the image of the after the polishing helps to allay any fears that you might have with regards to taking this abrasive surface to the surface of your titanium Apple Watch. I know that I was a little bit nervous when I did it initially, but I can tell you that the results have been excellent. I did not pay $20, $30 for a specialized titanium resurfacing pad off of Amazon. I literally used a little piece of abrasive off of a sponge that's probably worth 5 cents. So all in all, it was a very cheap tool to purchase in order to remove the scratch. And in fact, I didn't even initially purchase this. This was purchased for scrubbing pots, but it took care of another issue. So I hope that this video has been handy for you. I hope that it removes the scratches for you as well. Just remember, you don't have to press too hard. Keep the abrasive pad as much away from the screen as possible, and just use linear strokes, and you can go around the whole surface of the case and clean up any marks that you might have. So I hope that that answers any questions that you might have had during the video. If you have any other questions for me, be sure to post them in the comments, and I will do my best to respond and get back to you. As well as if there's any additional questions that require a follow-up video, I can certainly do another video to clarify any questions that anybody might have. So if this video has been helpful for you, please subscribe to our channel and certainly like this video.